Leanne Caldwell, former White House cabinet secretary under President Obama, Chris Liu. He was also deputy chief counsel of the House Oversight Committee, and Republican strategist and Msnbc political analyst Susan Del Percio. And Leanne, let's start right there. What did we learn from this latest trove of additional evidence that was turned over, and how do we think it reinforces the Democrats' case?
Well, Garrett, Democrats have constantly said that they're going to continue to investigate this president because new information is going to come out, and it keeps coming out. So what we learned in this latest trove of documents, and mind you, there could be more released this weekend as well. It's not all of it. We learned that perhaps that ousted ambassador Marie Yovanovitch was, in fact, or watched at least, that there was a new character brought into this who was watching and aware of her whereabouts in the Ukraine. We also learned that Devin Nunes, who is sitting at the vice chair of the Intelligence Committee, defending the president in all of these hearings throughout this impeachment trial or impeachment investigation by the House, calling it a witch hunt, that one of his top aides was, in fact, close contact with Lev Parnas. We also have seen new pictures now of Lev Parnas with the president's children, a lot of more pictures with his associates. It has many pictures with Rudy Giuliani. So what does all of this mean? It shows that the tentacles run really deep in kind of this irregular channel that was run by Rudy Giuliani at what we think the direction of the president. And what does this mean for Democrats? It absolutely adds fuel to their fire in saying that this Senate trial that starts on Tuesday absolutely has to be expanded to include new evidence, to talk to new witnesses, to really get the entire picture of this case, Garrett.
And Susan, this all comes just days after the president and Parnas gave vastly different public remarks about their relationship. Take a listen.
President Trump knew exactly what was going on. He was aware of all of my movements. I wouldn't do anything without the consent of Rudy Giuliani or the president.
Well, I don't know him. I don't know Parnas, other than I guess I had pictures taken, which I do with thousands of people, including people today that I didn't meet, but just met him. I don't know him at all, don't know what he's about, don't know where he comes from, know nothing about him. It doesn't matter what he says. He's trying to probably make a deal for himself. I don't even know who this man is, other than I guess he attended fundraisers, so I take a picture with him. Perhaps he's a fine man, perhaps he's not. I don't know him. I had never had a conversation that I remember with him.
Susan, if you take Parnas's name off this, it sounds the same as the way the president treated Michael Cohen, half a dozen others along the way here, trying to distance himself from people. But given all this evidence, all those photos, the calendar entry that Parnas had about a breakfast with Donald Trump, does the White House need to change its strategy from I didn't know the guy to at least, I don't know, I don't trust the guy, you can't believe the guy? What do they do with this?
Well, I think they let Donald Trump do what he's going to do. They have not had a White House communication strategy. They've had Donald Trump say what he feels like at any given point. So if this is where Donald Trump's going to go with it, so be it. Because he keeps surviving this kind in the way he handles himself with his base. And that's really all he cares about. And we're going to hear more and more things come out. If we think we know everything, I think we're very wrong.
What about Devin Nunes' role in all this? One of the pieces of evidence in this were text messages between Parnas and a Nunes aide here. When does he move from this periphery defender of the president to a fact witness in his own right?
Right, and that's a really good point, because while this may work for Donald Trump, it works for nobody else.
Right.
Look where Michael Cohen is, Michael Flynn, Manafort. So Devin Nunes should be very careful now. He's someone who's got to come up and fess up and just put this all out on the table. Is probably his best strategy at this point.
And Chris, turning to the upcoming trial here, do Democrats keep pushing for more new evidence, more new witnesses, or should the managers be making the broader argument at this point? How do you see that tension here between the argument that we know so much, we need to find out more, or we know so much, let's move to removal of this president?
Well, Garrett, I think it's actually both. And I think you saw in the impeachment managers that Nancy Pelosi named, these were experienced prosecutors, relatively low-profile people who many people watching on TV would never see, except for maybe Adam Schiff and